Cannabis. Personally, I've never touched the stuff, but that's mostly because I'm already up to a pack a day of the Batman purples. But more specifically, let's talk about cannabis cooking shows, which have slowly begun to emerge over the past several years. It's what you'd probably expect from a standard cooking show, but with a focus on cannabis-infused dishes. Shows like Bong Appetit and Chopped 420 are both fairly well-received examples that are well-produced and have good guests and judges that keep things interesting. Today, however, we're going to be talking about one of the worst examples, which is Cooking on High, one of the first competitive cannabis cooking shows ever made. You could say this show was a pioneer of the subgenre, and like many bright-eyed pioneers on the Oregon Trail in the mid-1800s, tragically died of dysentery, leading to just one diarrhea-caked single season that is now completely removed off Netflix.
For the next 30 minutes, two chefs will face off in a food frenzy, using one very special herb. Weed.
Basically, two experienced chefs compete for the highest score given out by an alternating panel of horrendously awful judges, one of which being Vitaly, a once massive YouTube prankster whose notable work consists of the farting on strangers prank and aggravated battery, but we'll get to him later. All right, let's get into it, but first, just to, take the edge off.
Welcome to Cooking on High, guys. We got some chefs that are gonna throw down tonight. Hope you guys are ready. Let's do it.
So first, let me explain the format of the show. The host, Josh, introduces the guests, which are often comedians or musical artists. He engages in a conversation that you will likely not pay attention to because you'll be so focused on how often he rubs his hands and claps whenever he speaks. Also, the banter is usually very cringy. Within the first minute of the first episode, Josh asks Maud's son to freestyle rap.
Okay, Cooking on High, I am that guy.
Mom, get in here! There's a white guy freestyling! Next, the competing chefs are introduced, as well as the theme of the dish, and then their cannabis expert, Ungayo, tells them what strain they'll be cooking with. Now, this man's one of the only good things about this show. He's charming, he's comfortable on camera, and he drops a lot of knowledge about cannabis and how to cook with it effectively. He may not look it, but he's also a power lifter, and by that I mean he pulls everyone's fucking weight, trying to make sure nothing goes completely off the rails.
My boyfriend and I met my grandma on edibles.
You should take like a pill that has marijuana in it and put it in a tea.
What is all this talk about drugging people without their knowledge? You can't do that to people.
No,
After they eat the food, they take a short break so the THC can get into their system.
We're back. How we feeling?
They give out their final scores, thus awarding the winner the golden pot. 'Cause weed, get it?
Weed.
There are a few episodes of this show that aren't even that bad because they occasionally will pick a pair of judges that are friendly and like kinda mesh well together. So at its best, the guests are fine. When they're bad, however, oh my god.
That is amazing. It's shaped like a vagina. This is the type of dish that will get you A-list celebrity, model, loving.
Oh my god.
Imagine being a professional chef on television, putting your heart and soul into a dish just to have some asshole who came to set fucked up shovel it into his mouth like, oh, it looks like a pussy, dude. I'll take seconds. However, as bad as this guy was, there's nothing that makes me more uncomfortable than literally any moment Vitaly is on screen.
What's up? How we doing?
What's up? What's up?
Feeling good?
Feeling
Excited.
great. What up, dude?
What's up? Oh, dab on me.
I feel like everything he says either doesn't land or comes off as weirdly hostile.
Welcome to Cooking on High, the first ever competitive cannabis cooking show. What do you guys think about this?
I don't know. I haven't ate anything, so.
We got two trained French chefs.
French press, French fries.
Do I get a French
Well,
kiss
this
at
is the
that?
perfect theme for you then.
I want a French kiss
maybe
at
that'll be
that.
At one point, Ungayo brings out the weed they'll be cooking with, and Vitaly, like a drooling caveman, digs his hands inside and eats it raw, which genuinely freaks everyone out for a second.
They told me I can do whatever I want.
No one told me that.
At one point, he just starts straight up telling the professional chefs how to cook their dish.
What's in there? Some shallot, a little bit of shallot.
You should just put the whole thing.
I'll use the rest later.
Listen, Chef Brandon, you should really be taking this guy more seriously, okay? He's got some great ideas. Have you seen Epic Poop Prank? Okay, didn't think so. What does Vitaly even know how to cook, by the way, besides a mixing bowl full of ground beef paired with a Bang energy drink? When they start eating the food and discussing it, Vitaly just stops talking entirely and ignores the conversation happening around him. Everyone looks at him like, you're on a fucking show, stupid, say something.
Are you still with us?
Yeah.
I'm also baffled by his scoring criteria. Like, here's him judging the dish from Chef Brandon, who desperately needs a score of 10 to win.
Everything was fresh. I like the spices, but that dish reminded me of my mom. So I'll give it a...
An 8.
The dish reminded him of his mom, which I don't even want to delve into, but for that reason alone, he lowers the score, and because of that, Chef Brandon loses the competition, which isn't even a big deal because every chef returns to the show like 5 times whether they win or lose. That's another weird thing about this show. It seems like it's supposed to be a casual, fun time, right? I'm assuming at least because all the judges are inexperienced and have no idea how to critique actual food, let alone recognize half the dishes being served to them.
What I have for you is a very hearty cod cake.
I like never ate fish before.
But I have a feeling this like casual vibe they wanted for the show was never fully communicated to the chefs. Everyone competing is professionally trained and have been on really big cooking shows before, so they take their cooking very seriously, especially if it's a competition. That's why when some random comedian says their complex dish looks like a pussy and then rates it an average score without any forethought, you can understand why the chefs look like they're about to go full Travis the Chimp and start yanking off chunks of their faces like a human Mr. Potato Head. For example, in the last episode, Vitaly is judging a burger made by Chef Brady. Keep in mind, the man is literally smiling with joy as he eats it. Before today, this man's palate has likely only known rice, a dry chicken breast, and the barrel of a gun.
Vitaly, you're up.
One of the best burgers I probably had, so.
A 7.
So it's one of the best burgers he's ever had. He has nothing negative to say about it. It doesn't, I repeat, it doesn't remind him of his mom, which is apparently a good thing. I don't fucking know. 7. That's a 7. Somehow worse than that last dish. You can tell Brady thinks this is totally ridiculous. This begs the question, why not remove the competition aspect entirely? I don't know. I feel like if you want the show to be super casual and lighthearted, there are better ways to do it. Why not have one chef just cook the food for everyone and then just let the guests tell stories and jokes to provide the entertainment? The tiny set would probably accommodate that better instead of having her host constantly in the way of 2 chefs trying to cook. Also, because the judges have nothing to say to each other, they decide to fill time a lot by just repeatedly asking stupid questions to the chefs who are trying to cook under a strict time limit.
Have you started yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on his way.
That's a lot of onions.
Do you cry when you cut onions?
I do.
Do you cry when you cut onions, Vitaly? Have your brains been whipped into a meringue? Was eating the weed and dabbing the only real plan you had for this TV appearance?
Weed.
There aren't a massive amount of cannabis cooking shows out there right now, so I can safely say that this one is one of the worst ones that exists currently. At its best, it's sort of watchable. At its worst, I would rather go for a jog in Miami, if you catch my drift. Either way, thanks for watching, guys. You know, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, blah, blah, all that stuff. And don't forget, if you smoke weed even one time, you will suffer eternal damnation in hell. All right, see you guys. Bye.